Hello and welcome. This is Patrick Hickey from Boherbury Comprehensive School, and this is my third and final presentation on Anglo-Irish relations. In this video, part 3, I'm going to look at the years from 1939 to 49 and the governments of Fianna Fáil and the inter-party government. So, in Ireland, a state of emergency was called at the start of the war. Hence, the period 1939 to 1945 is called the emergency. Now, previously in class, we looked at the impact of the war in terms of economy. We looked at things like rationing and censorship. However, in this video, I'm going to focus mainly on Anglo-Irish relations during World War II. So, first of all, we decided to stay neutral in the war. The return of the treaty ports made it possible for Ireland to take this decision. Why did De Valera pick neutrality? Well, I suppose in his mind it was the ultimate sign of independence. Just because Britain was in a war didn't mean we had to be dragged into it as well. He also took into account our poor defences, plus it was the popular decision. And I suppose the best proof of this was when the Dáil voted on the policy. It got cross-party support, with the exception of one Fine Gael TD, James Dillon. During this period, we will see Dev's determination to stay neutral in his decisive handling of the IRA. In the early 30s, Dev had banned the IRA, but now he had to redouble his efforts against them. Why was this? Well, the main reason was the IRA was threatening our neutrality. Firstly, in early 1939, the IRA started a bombing campaign in Britain. The worst atrocity included the murder of 5 people in Coventry. As well as this, Dev was very concerned about the actions of Sean Russell, the Chief of Staff of the IRA. Russell believed in the old IRB motto, Britain's difficulty is Ireland's opportunity. So for this reason, he went to Germany to get the support of the Nazi regime and maybe even to facilitate a Nazi invasion of Ireland. Now, Russell himself would die under mysterious circumstances. When he died on board a German U-boat, his body was buried at sea. Now, I suppose it's worth knowing there is a monument to him in Dublin, and I suppose over the years, because of his connections with the Nazis, it has been vandalised in a variety of ways, including being daubed with swastikas, and the head is removed every now and again also. Now, the actions of Russell made Dev very afraid. He saw them as a threat to Irish neutrality and thought it might provoke a British invasion if he didn't do something about it. His actions in this regard were decisive. He introduced internment, that is, imprisonment without trial, for IRA members or supporters. He also reintroduced the death penalty. His actions saw 500 IRA members interned and 6 IRA men executed. Among the 6 executed were Charlie Kearns. Now, I suppose if you're from this part of the country, we'd be familiar with a football club, a GA club in Tralee called Kearns O'Reilly's. Well, the Kearns in that club's name, it comes from Charlie Kearns. They're actually named in his honour. Kearns was executed for his part in the murder of a guard. June 1940, we see Dev's determination to remain neutral when he refused a British offer of a united Ireland. That's right, his life's dream and ambition was offered to him in support for Irish support for the British war effort. However, Dev refused the offer. He just couldn't trust that the British would back up their promise. So a case of thanks but no thanks. At times, Dev took neutrality to its extremes. For example, on the death of Hitler, he went to the German embassy in Dublin to offer our country's condolences to Germany on the death of their leader. Now, the timing of this was, probably unnecessary at this stage because the war was practically over. But still, Dev felt if a leader, no matter if it's Hitler, if a leader of a foreign state dies, you do the right thing. You offer your condolences. It was a controversial move, that's for sure. However, behind it all, I suppose Ireland's neutrality was actually quite friendly towards the Allies. RAF pilots who landed in Ireland or crash landed in Ireland were returned to Britain, whereas Luftwaffe and German pilots were detained in the Curragh. Weather reports were also given to the Allies ahead of D-Day. Nonetheless, relations between Dev and Churchill would remain tense throughout the war. And this was very evident at the end of the conflict, where Churchill praised Northern Ireland for its contribution to the war effort, but attacked the South. He accused Dev of frolicking with the German and Japanese representatives. The war had been a test of Irish independence and neutrality, and in this regard we passed the test, we succeeded. But it widened the gap between North and South, because as we know, whereas the North were fully involved in the British war effort, we remained outside the effort. Now, in February 1948, there was a general election in the South, and I suppose at this point there was a strong desire for a fresh change. So after 16 years in power, Fianna Fáil loses office. It did so to what was called the inter-party government. I suppose today now we'd call it a coalition government. It was a motley crew or a combination of a lot of different parties, including Fine Gael with 31 TDs, Labour 14, Clan na Poblachta, Clan na Talún, National Labour and a number of independents. These combined to form a government and boot Fianna Fáil out of power. John A. Costello of Fine Gael became Taoiseach. And to much surprise, he announced it was his government's intention to declare Ireland a republic, which was enacted in April 1949. He completed the work of Cosgrave and De Valera. He also proved that Michael Collins' assertion that the Anglo-Irish Treaty was a stepping stone to full freedom was correct. Ultimately, our pursuit of sovereignty was a success. Unfortunately, there was no progress in the area of partition. Indeed, the North and South's different experiences of World War II made partition even stronger. Okay, so once again, thanks for watching. I hope this video and the rest are of great help to you and your studies for Leaving Cert. Okay, till next time, bye bye.